Hello, and this is a quick look at the Godus beta version 1.2, 40% complete, out yesterday. Very nice graphic style, very smooth, works really well, very crisp, clean interface. You pretty much have the full screen. You start off with a couple of dudes with some pickaxes. By some magic process I don't quite understand, they manage to reproduce with each other and they form the start of your followers. This is just showing you some of the later actions you unlock. So you start clearing space. The orangey area is your sphere of influence. The blue area I can't do anything in at the moment, and you have to click a lot. There is a lot of clicking to be done. You click on trees, you click on rocks, you click to drag things around. I do get the feeling you should have had a free mouse with this game, because I think mine might be on the way out with all the clicking I've done in the last few hours. And basically you click, click, click and expand the area to allow them to settle more houses. And as you're going through the land expanding, you start to discover different cards. These cards go in your little God scrapbook and get used at a later date. We'll come on to those. The little pink things above the houses, that's power, and you need to collect that in order to influence anything. You can collect that either via over the houses or by smashing some trees. Click, click, click. And as you go on, there's a little box. You uncover the boxes, and the boxes give you new resources. And you don't actually use the resources yourself. So there's some timber, for example. You unlock items by gathering more resources. So once you've got enough, you can then unlock things like new houses, and it helps advance the game. Gives your followers new things that they can do, new things that they can build. There's also a number of statues dotted about that you uncover as you progress, and once your followers have sorted them out, you get things like the Running Man statue, and once you've placed that, your followers leg it around like so. Has a nice little influence. So in the end, you well, certainly after a few hours, you'll have a lot of followers, and of course once you've got a lot of followers, like any good god, you would send them off to fight for you, and this is where the multiplayer aspect comes in. This is a nice little book. You click on the book and you fight other players. There's a few modes. To be honest, when I've tested this at the moment, it feels like a good idea that isn't really taking off yet. I don't know if it's just because of the lack of players. And I've managed to finish most games fairly quickly once I understood what was going on, because the other player didn't seem to be doing much. Here I'm pretty much outnumbered, so I very quickly built up a little town. And once I felt like I had enough numbers, I sent them off over to the other town and slaughtered them all. As you do. So within the multiplayer, it works exactly the same. You build a little town, you collect the little orb balls, or click on trees and what have you, and then eventually you can have a totem. The totem light tells your followers where to go, and they all drop everything and head over to it, and once there they will slaughter the other team, basically. Simple as that. So you have to not only destroy the buildings, you then, once the buildings are destroyed, the people carrying inside them decide they suddenly should fight, and once you've finally beaten them to death, you win. It's worth doing these at the moment because you gain a lot of extra resources. In this case, I didn't just gain a resource, I also gained a ginger man. So don't let it be said Godus is not ethnically diverse. As you progress a bit further, you'll unlock more things, and it really helps push the game along a bit. You want one more go, oh, let's just stretch it a little bit further. And despite its very simple nature, this is quite an addictive game, and I can see how if they translate this to a mobile, it's going to be one that you're going to be able to waste a lot of time on. There are other multiplayer modes. This one was mine more than your opponent's, so you just send all your followers there and they get mining. Again, my opponent didn't seem to do much, so it wasn't particularly difficult. And later in the game you start to unlock things that make your life easier, so there is less clicking. So this statue is brilliant. It basically absorbs all the worshipper power from around the buildings, and you only have to click that one totem rather than all the individual buildings. I was concerned that was going to get a little bit too repetitive. You also unlock things that allow you to drag around more earth, so you can perform the terraforming a lot quicker. And so the game progresses. You just have to keep adding followers. The top left shows you your next follower target. In the beta at the moment, I did notice a few times it would say, for example, 500, and I was on 550, so there's a bit of an issue, but it did still trigger the upgrade once I hit 600 or whatever the real target happened to be. As you're dragging around Earth, you can see the bottom left, the power balls are draining very quickly, so the more followers you have, the more power you have, the more power you have, the more followers you can create. So it's a nice little incentive to keep expanding further. To learn more about the game, check out the Steam store.